Alright, new update from everything I know so far about this whole phenomenon. So right after I posted that last video, I found out, of course I would find out right after I post the video, that actually the most recent mutilation was in Carbon County, Utah on July 3rd. Initially this was reported as a gunshot wound by the rancher. Then for some reason he went back and looked. There's no bullet, there's no wound, and it has all the classic features. Scavenger avoidance, the death mask on the face, which I'm going to show a sequence of photos here. Do not watch these if you're easily grossed out or you don't want to see, essentially the mutilation of an animal. Yeah, but I'm going to show a sequence of these photos so that you know exactly what these look like and what ranchers have been seeing for decades. So maybe fast forward about 40 seconds if you don't want to see these. So this rancher changed his story, and now we have a July 3rd mutilation as the terminal final mutilation in the sequence, and the temporal alignment couldn't be more striking or perfect. So this was July 3rd in Carbon County, Utah, about 2 hours south of Skinwalker Ranch. This forms a pretty nice transect for the most recent United States mutilations between the Texas locations, Utah, and then up to Oregon, which is basically the southwest boundary of the bison line. Perhaps a coincidence, perhaps not. But now we have July 3rd, final mutilation. July 4th and 5th, massive flooding in Austin, Texas. July 8th, I solve it. I find the primary pattern that leads to every single breakthrough in understanding this phenomenon. And then July 12th, the sun turns into what I called a bison in the last video, but if you look closer at it, there seems to be a cow skull, like a face of a cow looking back towards you. I'm not going to point it out because I think it's more fun to kind of look for it, because when you find it, it's incredible. And the same thing can be said about the explosion video. Within the soot and the smoke, you might be able to see something interesting there take shape near the end of that sequence of that clip that I showed. Also of note, I found, there was a report about an area called the Bowen Basin, which could be potentially seismically active, and because it has this sort of anomalous arrangement of rocks, and it's located in Australia. And before I even checked, I was like, let me guess, Queensland? And yes, that's exactly where it is. It resides completely underneath Queensland. So it's as if all of these cataclysmic switches were pre-placed, knowing what violations of the natural order would occur. It's like it's been laid out with booby traps and kill switches, basically. And that goes from the Yellowstone supervolcano to all the issues down in Argentina to what could happen in Australia that I just mentioned. So, the arrangement is just a little bit too much, because every time you find out something new, it's aligned perfectly with the formula, what I call the wrath math, which doesn't just align geographically with the mutilation locations, it also lines up with cataclysmic potential and volatile weather and historically important places for the eradication of hunting traditions and replacement with extreme, brutal livestock processing. And it's possible I've underrated Argentina on my rankings. It only goes up to 10, and the more I read about what happens there with animals, including the shipment of large groups of animals overseas, etc., in really bad conditions, dehydration, stress, crowding, disease. If this rating from 1 to 10 could go higher, it probably would for Argentina. So that's what we have here. So hopefully you guys check the other videos I've made so you get the full picture, so that all of this makes sense, because some of this can be a little bit much if you're just jumping in. But yeah, thank you for listening.